Hi, this is Aaron Ball from City Lights Real Estate. Are you getting ready to move soon? Let me show you how to save a couple $100 so that you don't end up paying when in the middle of the sale of your house. When your buyer comes through, they're going to hire an inspector, and that inspector is going to go around to your house and put this little plug into each one of your outlets to check them. This little plug is $6 at Home Depot, certainly something that you can go pick up on your own and check these yourself. The plug is also kind of loose. You can see how it's not really anchored to the wall. Some of these are pretty simple fixes, but once your buyer sees that and your inspector has it on paper, they're going to want a certified electrician to come and fix all of those things, which if you're a certified electrician, great, fix it yourself and write it up. But if you're not, then it's going to cost you hiring an electrician, which is going to be hundreds of dollars, even for them just to walk in the door, let alone all the work they're going to do. So we're going to show you how to fix this today. So there's two problems on this plug. Number one problem is it's super loose, and number two problem is it's not grounded correctly. And so we're going to show you how to fix both of those problems. But the first thing we want to do before we even touch this is go downstairs and turn off the breaker. Now here's where I put my disclaimer, and I'm going to highlight it, and put it on the thing. If you're uncomfortable doing this, then by all means don't. Hire an electrician to come in and fix it for you. But these are pretty simple issues, so if you feel comfortable with it, you can see what we're about to do and you can follow the tutorial and you can have this thing fixed in a matter of minutes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go downstairs and turn off the breaker, and I'm going to leave this plugged in so that we know this turns off. Come on, Lincoln, let's go. First thing you're going to want to do is come find your outlet boxes. Outlet boxes? I meant breakers. Mine are in my storage room downstairs. I have an expansion box here, and then I've got the main box here. My room is in the main box, and it says right here, master bed. You probably can't read that, but trust me, it says master bed. I'm going to go ahead and flip this off, and that should cut all the power to my bedroom. I'm going to go upstairs and check that plug to make sure the light turned off first. As long as the light's off, then the wires are safe to touch, and we can do what we need to fix that plug. But this is very, very, very important, because if you don't do this, you risk electrical shock or possibly even death. So now that we're not going to die, let's go fix it. We flip the breaker box downstairs and we check and the light is off. So we know it's safe to get into this plug, and we're going to fix a couple of problems. First thing you need is a new plug. You got to go to Home Depot and pick up a new plug. These are cheap, they're inexpensive, they're not hard to find, and you just want to make sure that you get the same kind. Then we have some wire cutters. We've got a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. Phillips screwdriver has the star head on it. And what we're going to do is change this and kind of fix the problems that we have. The first thing you do is take off the faceplate. And the faceplate just screws into the plug. You see on this new plug, there's a big screw right in the middle. That's where the faceplate's actually going to hold on to it. So since this one's moving in the wall, that faceplate would be moving with it. Now, the reason this is a little bit loose is because this home's been around for quite a while, and this plug has just come loose over time. So to tighten it up, you can just tighten these top and bottom screws right here, and these top and bottom screws, and I kind of just move it so that it sits right in the middle. You do not want to put your fingers down the sides. Even though this is off and we know it's off, I want to pretend that it's still got power to it because I don't want to get shocked. I hate getting shocked. It's the worst. And if you turn the power off downstairs, you'll never get shocked. But you can just tighten these bolts down right here, and I'm just pushing it on the plastic piece just a little bit. And you can tighten that down, and now this won't move anywhere. So that would solve a loose plug anytime. But this one it's not grounded correctly, so we're going to take this off, and you just take the screws out. Now that the screws are out, we can pull this out of the wall, and we can see that the ground wire, which is the bare copper wire, the ground wire was never attached to the green bolt. All of these are going to have a little green bolt on them, and that's the ground wire. Then you're going to have gold and silver screws. The gold screws are hot, the silver screws are cold. Black is hot, white is cold. And so you just want to make sure that you're putting these in the same place. Now remember, I said you don't want to touch these because you want to pretend that there's still power surging through them. If the power was still on, this would be extremely dangerous, possibly even fatal. If you touch those, you could send a shock wave through your body into your heart and stop your heart, and then you'd stop watching this video and it's no fun anymore. But we know that this power is off, and so I'm just going to take my wire cutters and I'm just going to cut the wires off the back of this one. You can't take the wires out of this one because this is a cheap contractor grade plug, and once those plugs go in there, they just never come out. It is so hard to get those out. And since this plug's kind of old and beat up, I wanted to replace it anyway. So now I'm going to come to my wires, and I like to make sure that I keep the same ones, top and bottom, top and bottom. These were the two top, these were the two bottom, and so I'm just going to make sure that they stay that way. You're going to want to strip off the end. Just a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch is all you want. Come in here just a little bit more, Lincoln, so you can see this. But you just want just the very, very end of that. You don't want extra wires sticking out. When this sticks in, and we're gonna clamp this down, you don't want any extra wire sticking out, and that is about perfect for where we want it. Okay? So we're gonna strip all the wires. And this little tool right here, this is just a wire stripper. And this little tool has the different gauges of the wire. And so you just pick a gauge that will cut the sheath, but not the wire itself. And so you just kind of strip those out. Super easy. And now we're ready to put in the new plug. So remember, black goes to the gold, white goes to the silver. You'll notice on the back there's tons of holes back here. It doesn't matter if you use top or bottom or middle or whatever. I like to put them on the very top and tighten that down, and then put that on the very bottom and tighten it down. And so now my hots are connected. Pretty simple. I mean, we're, 2 minutes into this? And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And just make sure that those are connected correctly. Okay, and I tighten that up. Top wires are on the top, bottom wires are on the bottom, black is on the gold side, white is on the silver side. And we don't have any extra copper showing where we don't want it. Now this is your ground wire. I'm just gonna make a quick little loop on the bottom of this. Apparently when they built this house, they never put the ground wire on here. So I just made a little loop. I'm gonna tighten that loop right around that screw. And I'm just clamping that wire just around the, that bolt there. And I'm just gonna tighten that on there. And now it's completely done. And I can just push this right back in with very little pressure. And it just goes, you just line these back up in the holes, and this just goes right back in. Now we're down to the end, and I just want to make sure that it's kind of centered in here. And now we're just going to put the faceplate back on. And remember, I told you that the faceplate is going to screw directly into the plug. Now, one thing I will tell you about faceplates, whether they're on light switches or on plugs on the floor, if you screw those down tight, they will crack every single time. And so what you do is you just kind of get it down there, and I like to snug them up just so they don't go anywhere. And now that plug no longer moves, and it's nice and tight. And then we're gonna go downstairs and turn this on and see if I did it correctly. Back downstairs, we're gonna just come back over to the master bed and we're gonna turn that right back on. And it stayed on, which means that we didn't short anything, so it looks like it's working well. So let's go check it out. Oh, look at that! We turned the power on downstairs. Power's on back here at the plug, and both lights are on, which shows us that not only did we fix the problem with this plug moving around too much, but now it is grounded and it is correct. And we can check both plugs just to show you that both are fixed and working correctly. So there you have it. You just saved yourself several $100s by fixing this issue yourself. I'm Aaron Ball with City Lights Real Estate, and I appreciate you tuning in. If there's something else you want me to do, something else you want to see, or if you have a question, like, subscribe, and comment below, and let me know what you want me to do next, and I will show you whatever else I can show you next. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.